The stars glowed bright against the dark space as the Earth exploration vessel Horizon moved slowly through an unknown part of the galaxy. Captain Do-Hyun Park stood tall on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the main screen. After 5 years in deep space, they had finally found signs of alien life. "Captain, the signal is getting stronger," said Communication Officer Juwon, her fingers moving quickly over her control panel. "It seems to be an invitation." Captain Park nodded. This was the moment humans had waited for since they first looked up at the stars. "First contact. Put it on the main screen," he ordered. The screen flickered and then showed a being with blue skin and 4 eyes. The alien spoke in a strange language that sounded like music and clicks. "Lieutenant Kang, can you understand them?" Captain Park asked. Lieutenant Minji Kang, the ship's best language expert, listened carefully. She had studied many Earth languages, but this was different. Still, her special computer was already working to translate. "Give me a moment, Captain," she said, not taking her eyes off her screen. "The computer is finding patterns, I think. Yes, I can understand some words now." The alien message became clearer as Minji's translation program worked. "Greetings, humans of Earth. We are the Iridian Empire. We welcome you to the galactic community. Please accept our invitation to visit our homeworld." The crew of the Horizon looked at each other with excitement. This was history happening right before their eyes. Science Officer Jae-hyun Lee could not hide his smile. "Captain, this is amazing. Think of all we could learn from them." Captain Park felt proud, but also careful. "Let's not rush. Lieutenant Kang, what do you think about their message?" Minji frowned slightly as she studied the alien's face and words. Something seemed off, but she couldn't say exactly what. "The translation seems correct, Captain, but there's something in their tone, a feeling of looking down on us. I can't be sure." Captain Park thought about this. "Your feelings have been right before, Lieutenant, but we can't ignore this chance." He turned to his second-in-command. "Commander Hyunbin, prepare a report for Earth. Tell them we've made first contact with the Iridian Empire, and they have invited us to their planet." "Yes, sir," Commander Hyunbin said, moving quickly to send the message. Jae-hyun spoke up again. "Captain, if I may, the scientific value of this meeting is too great to pass up. We should accept their invitation." Minji still looked worried. "With respect, sir, we know nothing about these aliens or their culture. We should be careful." Captain Park looked at both of his officers. He understood their points. This was both an amazing chance and a possible danger. "Your concerns are noted, Lieutenant Kang. But Jae-hyun is right. This is why we came to space. We will accept the invitation, but we'll take all safety steps." He turned to face the alien on the screen. "We accept your kind invitation. When can we meet?" The alien's 4 eyes seemed to shine with an emotion the humans couldn't read. "Wonderful. We will send you directions to Iridia Prime. We are very eager to meet humans up close." Very eager indeed. As the screen went dark, Minji felt a cold feeling in her stomach. Something wasn't right, but no one else seemed to notice. The crew around her was happy and excited, ready to make history. Little did they know what the Iridians were really planning for humanity's first steps into the galactic community. The human delegation from Earth stepped off their shuttle onto the smooth white floor of the Iridian spaceport. Captain Do-Hyun Park led the way, followed by Lieutenant Minji Kang and Science Officer Jae-hyun Lee. They had prepared for this moment for weeks during their journey to Iridia Prime. "Remember," Captain Park said quietly to his team, "we represent all of humanity today." A group of tall, blue-skinned Iridians waited for them. The leader stepped forward with 4 eyes blinking in sequence. "Welcome, humans. I am High Commander Vexus. We are pleased you accepted our invitation to Iridia Prime." Minji noticed again that strange tone in Vexus's voice. It reminded her of how adults sometimes talk to very small children. "Thank you for your welcome," Captain Park said with a slight bow. "We are honored to be the first humans to visit your world." Vexus made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Yes, the first of your kind." How special. Please follow us to the transport. The humans were led to a floating platform that moved quickly through a beautiful city of crystal towers. Jae-hyun took pictures and notes of everything he saw. The architecture suggests thousands of years of development, he whispered excitedly. Their technology must be centuries ahead of ours. Minji nodded but kept watching their hosts carefully. Notice how they keep looking at us, like we're animals in a zoo. The platform stopped at a massive building shaped like a bowl. Hundreds of Iridians were going inside. What is this place? Captain Park asked. The Grand Hall of Knowledge, Vexus replied. Our leaders are waiting to meet you. Inside, the humans were led to the center of what looked like a giant theater. Thousands of Iridians sat in seats all around them, staring down. Captain Park realized with growing unease that there were no seats for the humans. Please stand here, Vexus said, pointing to a small circle on the floor. Suddenly, bright lights shone down on them. A voice boomed in the Iridian language, and the crowd laughed. What are they saying? Captain Park asked Minji quietly. Minji's face had gone pale as her translation device worked. They're introducing us as primitive curiosities from a backward planet. More laughter filled the hall as images of Earth appeared on large screens. The Iridians showed humans fighting wars, polluting oceans, and arguing in political meetings. And these creatures believe they are intelligent, said an Iridian on a high platform. Look at their simple bodies, only 2 eyes. How do they even see properly? The crowd roared with laughter. Jae-hyun stepped forward angrily. This is an insult. We came in peace to learn and share knowledge. 2 Iridian guards moved quickly. One touched Jae-hyun with a rod that made him fall to his knees in pain. The specimen shows emotion when confronted with truth, said the Iridian leader. How fascinating. Bring it to the Science Center for study. Captain Park tried to intervene, but more guards appeared with the painful rods. You can't do this, he shouted as Jae-hyun was dragged away. We are representatives of Earth. High Commander Vexus turned to him with all 4 eyes narrowed. You are nothing. Your species is barely out of its caves. You should be grateful we find you amusing enough to study rather than simply eliminate. Minji felt sick as she watched Jae-hyun disappear through a door. The Iridians had never wanted diplomacy. Humans were just new animals for their entertainment. What happens now? She asked quietly. Captain Park's face was hard with anger, but his voice stayed controlled. Now we find a way out of here, save Jae-hyun, and warn Earth about what these aliens really are. As the mocking continued around them, the 2 humans stood tall, already planning their escape from what had become a nightmare. Captain Do-hyun Park and Lieutenant Minji Kang were locked in a small room with white walls after the public mockery ended. There was one door with no handle and a strange blue light in the ceiling. They had been there for hours. They took all our equipment, Captain Park said, checking his empty pockets again. No communicators, no weapons. Minji sat against the wall, her face serious. Not everything, Captain. She reached into her boot and pulled out a small flat device. I took this from a guard when they pushed us in here. I think it's an Iridian communication tool. Captain Park's eyes widened. Good work, Lieutenant. Can you make it work? I've been studying it. The symbols are similar to what was in my translation program. I think I can send a message, but I'm not sure to where. A sound at the door made them freeze. The door slid open, and 2 guards threw someone inside. It was Jae-hyun. His face was pale, and he had marks on his arms where the Iridians had done tests on him. Jae-hyun. Minji helped him sit up. What did they do to you? Jae-hyun's eyes were tired but clear. They tested my brain patterns, my blood, my strength. They were surprised by something they found. He tried to smile. It seems human minds can connect to their technology in ways they didn't expect. What do you mean? Captain Park asked. Their computers respond to thought patterns. The Iridians use all 4 eyes to send different signals. But humans, Jae-hyun tapped his head. Our brains work differently. I was able to access parts of their system they didn't mean to show me. Minji looked at the device in her hand. Can you use this? Jae-hyun nodded. I think so. And I need to. Captain, they're planning to attack Earth. I saw their battle plans. They call it a cleansing mission. Captain Park's face darkened. Why? We've done nothing to them. They see us as a future problem. Our minds work differently than theirs. They think we might become a threat in 100 years, so they want to stop us now. Captain Park stood up straight. Then we need to warn Earth. How do we get out of here? Jae-hyun pointed to the communication device. Give me that. I can try to access their security system. While Jae-hyun worked with the device, Captain Park moved to the door. Once we're out, we'll need a ship. The landing bay is 3 levels down, Jae-hyun said without looking up. I saw it in their computer. Their scout ships are small and fast. Can you fly one? Minji asked. I think so. Their controls responded to my thoughts. The device in Jae-hyun's hands made a soft sound. Got it. The door should open in 10 seconds, but we'll need a distraction. Captain Park nodded. I'll give them something to chase. You two get to the landing bay and prepare a ship. I'll meet you there. Captain. Minji started to argue. That's an order, Lieutenant. His voice was firm. Earth needs to know what's coming. The door slid open. Captain Park immediately ran out shouting, drawing the attention of the guards. Alarms began to sound through the building. Minji and Jae-hyun went the other way, moving as fast as they could with Jae-hyun still weak from the tests. They used the stolen device to open doors and avoid most guards. In the landing bay, they found the scout ships. Jae-hyun placed his hand on a control panel, and one ship lit up. Where's the captain? Minji looked back at the door, worried. Just then, Captain Park ran into the bay, followed by angry shouts. He jumped into the ship with them. Go, he ordered. Jae-hyun placed his hands on the controls, and the ship hummed to life. The bay doors were closing, but the small ship was faster. They shot out into space, leaving the beautiful and dangerous world of Iridia Prime behind. Set course for Earth, Captain Park said grimly. We need to prepare our people for what's coming. The stolen Iridian scout ship landed at Earth's main space base in the middle of the night. Soldiers with guns surrounded it until Captain Park's voice came through the radio. Medical teams rushed to help Jae-hyun as soon as the 3 humans stepped out. We need to speak to Admiral Choi immediately, Captain Park said to the base commander. Earth is in danger. 1 hour later, they sat in a large meeting room. Admiral Sunwoo Choi, the head of Earth's Space Forces, listened with a serious face as they told their story. So these Iridians plan to attack us? Admiral Choi asked when they finished. How soon? Based on what I saw in their computers, we have 3 months, Jae-hyun said. His arms were now wrapped in bandages where the Iridians had tested him. Their fleet is preparing now. Admiral Choi frowned. Why would they see us as a threat? We've barely left our solar system. It's how our minds work, Minji explained. Jae-hyun was able to use their technology in ways they didn't expect. They fear what we might become. Can you prove any of this? Admiral Choi asked. Captain Park placed the stolen Iridian device on the table. This has their battle plans, and the scout ship has their weapons and engine technology. Admiral Choi studied the device. I'll call the World Council today. If what you say is true, we need to prepare. 2 weeks later, the leaders of all Earth nations met. Some didn't believe the threat was real, but most were convinced by the Iridian technology and battle plans. We need to work together, Admiral Choi told them. No single nation can face this threat alone. For the first time in history, all Earth nations agreed to join forces. Factories that made cars now made ship parts. Soldiers from different countries trained together. Scientists shared their secrets to develop better weapons. We need someone who understands their technology, Admiral Choi said to Captain Park. Someone who can help us improve our ships quickly. I know just the person, Captain Park replied. Engineer Hyejin Kim. She designed the engines for the Horizon. She sees things others miss. Hyejin Kim was working in her lab when they found her. She was small with short black hair and bright eyes that lit up when she saw the Iridian scout ship. Amazing, she said, walking around it. Their engine design is different from anything I've seen before, but there are ways to make it better. Better? Jae-hyun asked. How? Their design is clean, but not creative, Hyejin explained. They follow patterns. Humans think differently. We can combine our ideas with theirs to make something new. Day and night, Hyejin worked with teams of engineers from around the world. They studied the Iridian ship and built new engines and weapons based on what they learned. Meanwhile, Jae-hyun worked with military leaders. The Iridians think in straight lines, he explained. Their attacks will be direct and follow patterns. We need to be unpredictable. Captain Taho Min, known for winning battles against greater forces, developed new fight tactics. We'll use small ships in groups, he said. The Iridians won't expect that. As the weeks passed, new ships took shape in factories and shipyards around the world. They were smaller than Iridian ships, but faster and more flexible. Earth's first real space fleet was being born. Minji found Captain Park watching the ships being built. Do you think we have a chance? She asked quietly. He looked at the busy workers below. The Iridians made one big mistake, he said. They judged us by what we were, not what we can become when we work together. With less than a month before the Iridian fleet would arrive, Earth prepared for the biggest fight in human history. 2 weeks before the Iridian fleet was expected to arrive, Engineer Hyejin Kim called an emergency meeting. Admiral Choi, Captain Park, and other leaders gathered in her lab. We've made a breakthrough, Hyejin said. Her eyes were tired from working long hours, but her voice was strong. Look at this. She pointed to what looked like a small metal box on her desk. This is a power core based on Iridian design, she explained. But we've changed it. The Iridians use straight energy paths. We've made them curve and cross in new ways. She turned it on. The box glowed with bright blue light. Their design gives power for 6 hours. Ours runs for 15 hours and gives 30% more power. Admiral Choi leaned closer. How is this possible? The Iridians think in order and patterns, Hyejin said. Humans think with more. Chaos. We try things they would never think to try. Can we put these in our ships? Captain Park asked. Hyejin nodded. We already are. Every ship will have one by next week. Across Earth, a quiet revolution was happening. The Iridians had thought humans were simple and weak, but when faced with danger, humans became something else entirely. In weapons labs, scientists created new lasers using Iridian technology combined with Earth metals the aliens had never seen. In training rooms, pilots learned to fly in ways that broke all the rules. Captain Taho Min taught them to move in patterns no computer could predict. The Iridians rely on their machines to tell them what we will do, he told his pilots. So we must do what their machines say is impossible. Jae-hyun, now recovered from his injuries, worked with computer experts. His experience with Iridian systems helped them build defenses against alien attacks. Their ships talk to each other all the time, he explained. If we can confuse those signals, we can make them fight against themselves. In a large building near the ocean, Minji worked with a team to understand Iridian language and culture better. They studied everything from the stolen ship and device. Know your enemy, she told her team. The more we understand them, the better chance we have. 3 days before the expected attack, Admiral Choi called all leaders to see Earth's new fleet. 100 ships floated above Earth's largest ocean. They were smaller than normal spaceships, built for speed and surprise. They don't look like much, someone said. That's the point, Admiral Choi replied. The Iridians expect us to build big, slow ships like theirs. They won't expect these. The flagship of the fleet was called Defiance. Captain Park would lead it, with Minji as his second in command and Jaehyun managing the new computer systems. Hyejin won't be with us, Captain Park asked when he saw the crew list. She's still working, Admiral Choi said. She says she has one more surprise for the Iridians. On the final night before they left Earth, the ship captains gathered for a meal. There was no big speech, no proud words about victory. They all knew the fight ahead would be hard. The Iridians think they know what humans are, Captain Park said, simply raising his glass. Let's show them how wrong they are. As the sun rose the next morning, Earth's fleet lifted into space. They would not wait for the Iridians to come to Earth. They would meet the enemy among the planets of their own solar system. The silent revolution was complete. In just 3 months, humans had taken alien technology and made it their own. Now they would find out if it was enough to save their world. Earth's fleet moved quietly behind the large moon of Jupiter. 100 small ships waited in the shadow of the giant planet. On the bridge of the Defiance, Captain Do-hyun Park watched the long-range sensors. Any sign of them? He asked. Jae-hyun looked up from his screen. Yes, Captain. Iridian ships are entering the solar system now. I count 30 large vessels. Each one is at least 5 times bigger than our largest ship. Captain Park nodded. This was expected. The Iridians believed in power, not speed. Their big ships carried many weapons but moved slowly. All ships, prepare for battle, he said into the communication system. Remember your training. Move fast, strike hard, and never stay in one place. The Earth fleet split into 5 groups, each with 20 ships. Captain Taho Min led the first group in his ship, the Swift. Group 1, follow me, Taho said to his pilots. We will test their front line. The Swift and its group moved out from behind the moon. They flew straight toward the approaching Iridian fleet. The enemy has seen us, Taho's second-in-command reported. They are changing course to meet us. Good, Taho smiled. They think we are the whole fleet. Let them come closer. The Iridian ships moved forward confidently. Their weapons began to fire long beams of energy across space. Evasive pattern now, Taho ordered. The 20 human ships suddenly broke formation. They moved in different directions like a flock of birds scattering. The Iridian weapons missed them all. Now strike, Taho commanded. The Earth ships darted forward, moving much faster than the Iridians expected. They fired their new weapons at the closest enemy ship. The combined attack broke through the Iridian shields. Direct hit, someone shouted over the radio. Don't celebrate yet, Taho warned. Pull back and regroup. As Taho's group retreated, the second group of Earth ships attacked from a different direction. Then the third group struck from yet another angle. On the Defiance, Captain Park watched the battle with careful eyes. The Iridians are confused, he said. They don't know where to focus their attention. Their communication signals are changing, Jae-hyun reported. They're trying to form a defensive circle. Now, Commander Sung-go, Captain Park ordered. Commander Sung-Woo-yoon led the fourth group of ships in a daring move. While the Iridians were distracted by the other attacks, his group targeted one specific enemy vessel near the edge of their formation. That's their command ship, Jae-hyun had told them earlier. It controls the others. Sung-go's ships hit the Iridian command vessel with everything they had. Its shields flickered and failed. Boarding team ready, Sung-go said calmly. His ship moved alongside the much larger Iridian vessel. A small team of soldiers in spacesuits jumped across the gap between ships. Fighting happened inside the Iridian command ship. The humans used their smaller size and better hand-to-hand combat skills to overcome the surprised aliens. We have control of their bridge, Sung-go reported 20 minutes later. And we've downloaded their battle plans. Without their command ship, the Iridian fleet fell into disorder. Their attacks became random and poorly aimed. All ships, attack pattern Omega, Captain Park ordered. The fifth group joined the battle, and all Earth ships focused their fire on the now disorganized enemy. 3 Iridian ships were badly damaged. The others began to pull back. "They're retreating," Minji said, surprise in her voice. "Not retreating," Captain Park corrected her. "Regrouping. This was only their first wave. They'll be back with more ships." Jae-yun studied the information from the captured command ship. According to their plans, they have a second fleet twice this size coming. "Then we need to prepare," Captain Park said. "This victory bought us time and gave us valuable information. But the real battle is still to come." The Earth fleet gathered its ships. They had lost only 3 vessels, while the Iridians had lost 5 of their 30. It was a good start, but everyone knew the fight had just begun. Earth's fleet gathered near Mars after their first victory. Engineers fixed damaged ships, while captains planned their next move. On the Defiance, Admiral Choi joined Captain Park through a secure video link. "You've done well," Admiral Choi said, "but our spies report that 60 more Iridian ships are on their way." 60. Minji's eyes widened. "We barely handled 30. "We have new ships joining you," Admiral Choi replied. 20 more left Earth yesterday, and Engineer Haijin sent her surprise. A cargo ship arrived carrying large metal containers. Inside were new shield generators designed by Haijin Kim. "These shields bend energy instead of blocking it," explained the cargo ship captain. "They can absorb Iridian weapons fire and even send some of it back." Captain Park ordered the new shields installed on all ships immediately. Just as they finished, the sensors lit up. "Iridian fleet detected," Jae-yun announced. 62 ships, approaching fast. "They'll reach Mars in 6 hours." Captain Park called all ship captains to a meeting. "This time, we attack first," he said. "We named this Operation Retribution." "Retribution?" asked Captain Tayo. "What does that mean?" "It means paying back what we are owed," Minji explained. "They mocked us. Now we show them who we really are." The Earth fleet moved out from behind Mars. 120 ships formed a new pattern that Tahoe had created. It looked like an arrow pointing at the coming Iridians. "All ships, prepare weapons," Captain Park ordered. "Remember, move fast and never stay still." As the Iridian fleet came closer, Lieutenant Commander Yoonju Kwon activated a special system on her ship. She was an expert in what humans called mind games. "Sending message on all Iridian channels," she reported. The message played through every Iridian ship. It showed the human delegation being mocked in the Iridian Great Hall, but then it showed Earth's fleet destroying Iridian ships in the first battle. Yoonju's voice spoke in perfect Iridian language. "You thought us weak. You were wrong. Turn back or face the fleet of Retribution." The Iridians responded with a full attack. Their ships fired energy beams at the human fleet, but this time, Haijin's new shields glowed as they absorbed the energy. "Shields holding at 90%, reported Jae-yun. "The new design works." "All ships, attack pattern Delta," ordered Captain Park. The human fleet broke into smaller groups and moved between the larger Iridian ships. The Iridians tried to turn to fire at them, but their big ships were too slow. On his ship, the Swift, Captain Tahoe led his group in fast attacks against Iridian engines. "Target their power centers," he told his pilots, "just like we practiced." 3 Iridian ships lost power and drifted in space. Others tried to form defensive circles, but the human ships were too quick. "Their pattern is too fixed," Minji observed on the Defiance. "They can't adapt to our movements." An Iridian message came through their communication system. High Commander Vexus appeared on screen, his 4 eyes blinking in anger. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "You are primitive beings. You should not be able to defeat our superior technology." Captain Park stood tall before the screen. "You judged us by what we were, not what we could become. That was your mistake." "We will not be defeated by animals," Vexus shouted. "We are not animals," Captain Park replied calmly. We are humans, and we are just getting started. The battle continued for hours. Human ships took damage but kept fighting. JN's computer team sent confusing signals to Iridian ships, making some fire at their own allies. Finally, after losing 20 ships with many others damaged, the Iridian fleet began to pull back. "They're retreating," Minji reported. "Really retreating this time, not regrouping." The Earth fleet had lost 12 ships, but they had won. Cheers filled the radio channels as captains congratulated each other. But Captain Park remained serious. "Track them," he ordered. "See where they go." "What are you thinking, Captain?" Admiral Choi asked from the video link. "I'm thinking it's time to take the fight to them," Captain Park replied. "We've shown we can defend our home. Now let's make sure they never threaten us again." The fleet of Retribution gathered its strength. They had beaten the Iridian attack force. Next, they would follow them home. The fleet of Retribution followed the retreating Iridian ships through space. For 3 weeks, they traveled beyond their solar system, going farther than any humans had gone before. Captain Park stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching the stars on the main screen. "How much longer until we reach Iridian space?" he asked. Jae-hyun checked his instruments. 2 days, Captain. Their main fleet has already arrived at their home system. Minji joined them, carrying reports. The crew is ready, but nervous. No human has ever fought a battle this far from Earth. Captain Park nodded. "Tell them I understand. We all feel the same way. But we must make sure the Iridians never threaten our world again." When they reached Iridian space, they found a large defense fleet waiting for them. Over 100 Iridian warships stood between the humans and Iridia Prime. "They've called in every ship they have," Jae-hyun reported. "Their entire military is here." "Open a channel to all our ships," Captain Park ordered. When the channel was open, he spoke clearly. "This is Captain Park. We did not start this fight, but we will finish it. Today we show the Iridians that humanity will not be mocked or threatened. But remember, we are not like them. We do not kill for pleasure or power. Our goal is peace through strength. Fight well." The human fleet moved forward in attack formation. The Iridian ships opened fire immediately. "They're desperate," Minji observed. "Their attacks are not coordinated. Fear makes even advanced beings act without thinking," Captain Park replied. All ships engaged the enemy. The battle was fierce. Earth ships moved quickly between the larger Iridian vessels, using their speed and new weapons to cause damage. But there were so many enemy ships that some human vessels were hit badly. "We're losing too many ships," Minji reported after an hour of fighting. "We can't win by force alone." Captain Park thought quickly. "Jae-hyun, can you still access their communication system?" "Yes, Captain. Their basic codes haven't changed. Send this message to all Iridian ships and to their planet. We do not wish to destroy you. We only want peace. Stop your attacks, and we will stop ours." The message went out, but the Iridian ships continued to fight. "They won't listen," Minji said sadly. "They're too proud." Suddenly, a different Iridian voice came through their communication system. "Human vessels, this is Scientist Kirax. There are many Iridians who do not support this war. High Commander Vexus lied to our people about humans. He told us you were violent animals who would destroy our culture if allowed to live. Can we trust this?" Minji whispered to Captain Park. Before he could answer, several Iridian ships stopped firing. Then more stopped. Soon, nearly half the Iridian fleet was no longer attacking. "What's happening?" Captain Park asked. "Civil conflict," Jae-hyun explained, listening to Iridian communications. "Many ship captains are refusing to fight. They're listening to Scientist Kirax." Scientist Kirax spoke again. "Captain Park, if you truly want peace, prove it. Come with me to face High Commander Vexus. Show my people that humans are not what he claims." It was dangerous, but Captain Park sought a chance to end the fighting without more deaths. "I will meet with you. Tell me where." 20 minutes later, Captain Park, Minji, and Jaehyun took a small ship to an Iridian space station. They were met by scientist Karax, an older Iridian with gray-blue skin. "I studied the reports from your visit," Karax said. "I knew Vexus was wrong about humans, but I could not speak out then. Now, many Iridians have seen how bravely you fight and how you offer peace even in victory. They are ready to listen." Together, the humans and Karax traveled to the Iridian capital city. In the same great hall where the humans had once been mocked, they now faced High Commander Vexus before thousands of watching Iridians. "These creatures destroyed our ships and killed our people," Vexus shouted. "They must be eliminated." "Your ships attacked Earth first," Captain Park replied calmly. "We only defended ourselves, and unlike you, we offer peace now that we have shown our strength." Karax stepped forward. "Vexus planned to attack Earth from the beginning. He feared humans because they think differently than we do. But that difference could help both our peoples grow stronger together." The watching Iridians began to talk among themselves. More and more turned away from Vexus until he stood alone. "The age of mockery and fear is over," Captain Park told the crowd. "Now we can begin a new age of respect and cooperation." That day, on a world far from Earth, humans changed the course of galactic history, not through total victory in battle, but by showing strength with mercy. 1 year after the battle at Iridia Prime, ships from both worlds gathered in space between their solar systems. This was neutral ground, chosen for a historic meeting. The newly built peace station floated gently against the backdrop of stars. Captain Do-hyun Park, now Admiral Park, stood in his formal uniform beside Admiral Sun Woo-choi. They watched as the Iridian ships arrived. "Hard to believe it's been a year already," Admiral Choi said quietly. Admiral Park nodded. "Much has changed, for both our peoples." After High Commander Vexus lost power, the Iridians formed a new government led by a council of scientists and leaders. Scientist Karax now served as their chief representative. The council's first act had been to seek peace with Earth. Inside the main hall of the peace station, humans and Iridians gathered to sign the official Human-Iridian Peace Accord. The room was large with windows showing the stars outside. Tables were arranged in a circle so no one sat higher than others. Minji Kang, now an ambassador, worked with her team to make sure the treaty language was clear in both human and Iridian languages. No misunderstandings would happen this time. "The treaty is ready," she told Admiral Park. "Both sides have agreed to all terms." Jae-hyun Lee stood nearby with scientist Karax. The two had worked together for months, sharing knowledge about their different technologies. Jae-hyun's unique ability to work with Iridian systems had opened new doors for both species. "Did you ever imagine this day would come?" Jae-hyun asked Karax. "When we first met your people, it seemed like war was the only possible outcome." "War is easy," Karax replied wisely. "Peace is the true challenge. It requires us to grow beyond old thinking." Hyejin Kim had also come for the signing. Her work combining human and Iridian technology had created new advances that helped both worlds. Ships now traveled faster, energy was cleaner, and medicine had improved. "Engineer Kim," Admiral Choi called to her, "your seat is here, with the other heroes of Earth." Hyejin smiled shyly. She never thought of herself as a hero. She just loved solving problems. The ceremony began with Admiral Choi speaking first. "1 year ago, our world stood at the edge of destruction. Today, we meet as equals and as friends. This treaty marks not the end of a war, but the beginning of a new future for both our peoples." Scientist Karax spoke next. "The greatest strength of any species is not in weapons or ships, but in the ability to learn and grow. Humans have taught Iridians this important lesson. We once mocked you for being different. Now we value those differences." One by one, leaders from both worlds signed the treaty. As they did, news went out to all planets in both systems. The war was officially over. Peace had begun. After the signing, Admiral Park was asked to speak to the Galactic Council. This group of advanced species had been hidden from humans by the old Iridian government. Now Earth was invited to join them. Judge species not by their history, but by their potential, Admiral Park told the Council. Humans are young among the stars, but we learn quickly. We do not seek to rule or control others. We seek only respect and the chance to grow alongside you all. That evening, at the celebration dinner, Minji found Admiral Park standing alone, looking out at the stars. "What are you thinking about, Admiral?" she asked. "I'm thinking about how far we've come," he replied. "From being mocked in an Iridian hall to signing peace treaties with multiple worlds. And it all happened because they underestimated us." "No one will," Admiral Park agreed. "The story of humanity's response has spread through the galaxy. We're known now as the species that responds to mockery with greatness, to threats with innovation, and to victory with mercy." Back on Earth, children now looked up at the stars with new understanding. The universe was full of different beings, some friendly and some not. But humans had proven they belonged among them. In schools across Earth, teachers told the story of how humanity faced its greatest challenge. They did not focus on the battles won, but on how humans had transformed alien technology, united despite their differences, and chosen peace when they could have chosen destruction. The fleet of Retribution, now renamed the Fleet of Discovery, prepared for new missions to explore the galaxy. Captain Tahoe Min would lead the first expedition beyond known space. The Iridians mocked humanity and learned a hard lesson. Admiral Choi told the fleet at their launch ceremony. But the true victory was not in proving our strength, it was in proving our wisdom. Remember that as you represent Earth among the stars. The ships lifted off into space, carrying the best of humanity with them. Earth had faced its trial by fire, and emerged stronger, wiser, and ready to take its place in the wider galaxy.